Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 7 of the Glory Hunter career mode here on FIFA 23. We start off today's episode by seeing that Marcos Llorente picked up a small 5-day injury in the last game of the previous episode. And then we have a quick look at the La Liga player statistics, so the top scorers, the top assisters, and also the clean sheets, where we can see Jan Oblak is way out in front with, I think it was 10 clean sheets so far. But as we tick over to the 1st of January, we do see that we finally managed to shift on Mini, one of the 2 youth players that we were looking to shift on in the summer that we couldn't quite get done. He's finally left. And also on the 1st of the month, we saw there was two young players who had been at the club on loan since the start of the season. It was Ethan and Cueto or something along those lines. Neither of them had played at all. Ethan made like one appearance as a sub in the last Champions League game, but I literally couldn't care less about them leaving. They're never going to get a minute in the rest of the season, so that's fine. They can leave. And we also had a bit of a scouting update where obviously we've got Faud Hassan in the youth academy, only 15 years old. Looks like he's going to be a fantastic attacking midfielder. But I just wanted to say, guys, just very quickly, apologies if I do sound a little bit croaky today. I had football today, first game back after Christmas, and it was a real hard-fought battle against a team. We're quite low down in our league at the moment, and it was a battle with another team that are around us. I think they were 3 points ahead of us before kick-off. But it was a real battle, and look, we managed to win that 3-1 in the end, which was a fantastic result, but it was a real battle. But just a quick apology from me as well. This first game, well, not really an apology because it kind of affected me, but this first game, I accidentally did the playable highlights nonsense again. I really don't enjoy it. We were away against Real Betis and we managed to get a 1-0 victory. Thomas Lemar with the only goal, and there's not really, I don't feel like there's a lot of control in these playable highlights. So yeah, I'm not a big fan, to be honest. But we did manage to secure the 1-0 victory. There weren't a lot of chances at all in the game. But following that, obviously, we were now in January, and I wanted to bring somebody in as a backup centre back. Obviously, we've lost Pau Torres to injury. He will be coming back fairly soon, but it just sort of made me think we've only really got 3 out-and-out centre-backs. We do have a few players like Pavard and Ronaldo who could play there, but I just wanted to bring someone in as a little bit more cover at centre-back, and I thought we'd go for someone who's a little bit older now, a bit more of a veteran of the game, but it is someone who's actually played for Atletico Madrid. Some people may not know this. I think a lot will know that Alderweireld played for Atletico Madrid. He was there during, I think, the 13-14 season when they actually won La Liga. So he does have a winner's medal with Atletico Madrid. He obviously then went on to Southampton and subsequently on to Tottenham in England. And then I think he moved out to the Far East before moving back to his homeland, Belgium. But I thought I'd bring him back. He was still 82 rated, so I thought for the final few months of the season, obviously coming in January, I thought, he'd provide us good cover. We're obviously going to be hopefully fighting on 3 fronts this year, so we are going to need players, and I have got the injury sliders up slightly to make it a little bit more realistic, because if you leave it on 50-50 you just never get any injuries on FIFA. So I have upped them, and we've had a few injuries this year, obviously the main one being Pau Torres, which is why I wanted to bring in a backup centre-back, and we got him for quite a good price. It was Fran Gonzalez who went the other way in the deal. he's not played a single minute at all this season, so I was quite happy to see him go and bring someone in who we're actually going to be able to use. But yeah, good signing, happy to get him in. I think he does make his debut later on in today's episode. But we do also have, as I say, with us fighting on all three fronts, we do have the first game in the Copa del Rey, which is, of course, the round of 32, which is where we enter the competition at the end of today's episode. And obviously for viewers who watch in England, it is FA Cup weekend this week, and I wanted to kind of just very briefly kind of touch on it and about sort of the magic of the cup. There's already been a few cup sets today. We saw possibly the biggest one. Nottingham Forest lost 4-1 away at Blackpool. Wrexham also beat Coventry, which didn't really help me in our FA Cup predictions. If you've not already seen that on the channel, go and check it out. But yeah, we really needed Coventry to win, but they lost to Wrexham of the National League. And I've also just not long finished watching a fantastic Wolves display at Anfield, where they got a 2-2 draw, and to be honest, were quite unlucky not to win it in the end. They had a goal ruled out late on that for me was a very questionable offside, but make of that what you will, with it going to in favour of the Big Six side. But yeah, I was just sort of thinking about it, like the magic of the cup, and it sort of crossed my mind doing this career mode save. Like, there's a lot of, in England, it's kind of a well-known thing of like cup sets, especially in the FA Cup, a lot of underdog stories. And I know it does happen in foreign leagues as well, but I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of the cup games from the other top 5 European teams unless it's quite late on in the competition. And yeah, I was just sort of wondering, like, does it happen that often in the other leagues where like teams from a much lower division kind of cause a cup set? Obviously it's a huge thing in England, it has been, it's kind of the magic of the FA Cup as it's known. But yeah, I was just sort of wondering if it is as big a thing in other domestic leagues and cups. So, I mean, if you are from any other nations that obviously have a similar cup to the FA Cup, like the domestic competition, then let me know if it does happen. Obviously, we saw Barcelona the other night. They did get through in the end, but there was the fella from the third tier side who scored a hat-trick against them. Like I say, Barcelona obviously did go through in the end, but it's kind of cool to see, and it obviously does happen in the other leagues. I'm sure I saw something that one of the teams in France lost to like a 7th tier side, which is absolutely crazy. One of the kind of top teams in France in Ligue 1 lost to a 7th tier side, which, I mean, talk about magic of the cup, it doesn't get more magic than that. But I do love the FA Cup. It's exciting. It's good as an underdog. I'm actually from the town that I live in, have been on a few sort of decent cup runs in recent history. For anyone wondering, that is Crawley, who obviously beat Leeds in the FA Cup possibly 2 years ago now, I think it was. They're actually in a bit of trouble at the moment. There's a lot going on with their ownership, who have come in from the States, and yeah, it's kind of going to shit for them at the moment. But yeah, they've had a few kind of cup sets over the last couple of years. Actually did all right in the Carabao Cup over the last couple of years, as well as the FA Cup. So, and it's so exciting to see when you're a fan of a sort of smaller side, or a team that plays in one of the lower leagues in England. It's so exciting when you get drawn against like a big team in the FA Cup, and then if you can get a result as well and manage to progress, it is fantastic. And like I said, it is sort of like the magic of the cup. But yeah, just a bit of a random chat about cup football, as we do have our first game in the Copa del Rey later on in the episode. But obviously in the background you will have seen our first game of today's episode, where we were at home to Mallorca. Obviously the return fixture when we played them, I think it was a couple of episodes ago, and they caused us a few issues. We managed to win 2-1, but they were quite good in this game again. We did manage to turn it around after going a goal down once again and win the game by 3-1. And Jose Maria Jimenez again coming up with a goal from a corner. I did say in the previous episode I'm starting to get the hang of it now. But you can see the cup draw here for the round of 32. We were drawn away at RCD Espanyol. So not an easy game. Obviously, I was kind of hoping we might get a draw against a side who aren't in the top flight, just so that we can kind of get an easier game in the first round or two. But pretty confident against Espanyol. I can't remember what the score was when we played them earlier on in the year. I'm sure we have played them, but yeah, feeling confident about that one. But before that, back to La Liga action. Obviously, like I say, beat Mallorca in the last one, 3-1, goals from Jimenez, Mateus Cunha, and I can't actually remember who got the second one. I think it was Joao Felix, who's obviously been in fantastic form at the moment. But yeah, we were 1-0 down again, and if you kind of look at the league table, it looks like we've been flying all season long, but we've had a lot of games where we've gone a goal down and kind of battled back to win. We've not conceded a lot, but we have gone 1-0 down in quite a few games and had to sort of come back, and we've ended up winning them or getting a point out of it, which is great to see. But we played actually really well in that Mallorca game, especially in the second half, just controlled it, saw out the game. But back to La Liga action again in this one against Rayo Vallecano. And we started off pretty bright against them, had the first couple of chances of the game. I included this highlight here from De Thomas. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He was away from our defence, through on goal, and he just sort of runs to the side and looks to try and square the pass to his teammate when he was one-on-one. But Diego Lopez in this game, the veteran, former Real Madrid and AC Milan keeper, was playing absolutely fantastic, was saving everything that we threw at him, and they were causing us a lot of issues on the counter-attack in this game. You can see that Jimenez, as we were talking about earlier, with the injuries, was carrying a slight knock in this game, and he does eventually get subbed out later on for Pau Torres, who made his first start since the injury. Great to see him back on the pitch. But we were doing a lot of this in the first half against them, where we'd kind of have the ball on the edge of the box. We were waiting for an angle, and as soon as we got them and we kind of worked into a decent shooting position, it was that man, Diego Lopez, who was there. You can see that one a little bit more comfortable, but he was pulling out some ridiculous saves. This one, I think, is the best of the lot. The ball looks like it's already past him, and he somehow manages to claw it back from sort of behind him. You can see my manager's reaction on the sideline, sort of going, how the hell has he saved that? It was a ridiculous save from the vet. And like I say, we've been playing well, we've been creating chances, but we just couldn't find that breakthrough. And obviously it's a long season. There will be games throughout the league. Obviously we've been unbeaten so far in the league, but it's by no means been an easy ride so far. But actually the last chance of the half would fall to Rayo Vallecano, the home side, and as they worked the ball inside here, it was Martin who shot, and it actually came off the post in the end, causing us a few issues, like I say, on the counter-attack in this game. But we went into the game 0-0 at half-time. I believe Real Madrid had actually lost. They'd played before us, so I was starting to feel a little bit of pressure as they'd lost, and I knew that a win, I think, would send us 7 points clear. So I was feeling a little bit more nervous, but you can see here, just 3 minutes after the restart, we did end up bringing Jimenez off for Pau Torres, making his return. Jimenez tried to sort of run off the injury, but was in a bit of discomfort, so we thought we would bring him off. But we kept sort of trying, to create chances against this Vallecano team, which we were doing, but it wasn't until the 65th minute when the Argentine boys once again linking up. How good have these guys been this season? Correa's goal to game ratio isn't anything sort of astronomical, but he's come up with a lot of important goals, a lot of big goals when we've needed them. sort of like if it's the first goal of the game, which kind of sets us on our way. But great bit of defending here from Pau Torres just included. A bit of a defensive highlight. Like I said, don't include them a lot, but looked as if Vallecano could have been away there, but shows his pace, Pau Torres, and gets back to win the ball off the striker. And we did hold out for a 1-0 victory. You can see from the stats it was all us. We had an XG of 3 exactly, but we just couldn't make our chances count. In that first half especially, we had so many chances that we just didn't put away. But you will have seen an email after the match as well. Jimenez's injury was just a bruise. Yeah, it would only be 5 days that he was out for, so not too bad in the end. Happy that it wasn't a long-term injury, because like I say, I have upped the sliders so that we make it a little bit more realistic. We've seen this season in the Premier League especially, a lot of injuries to sort of key players for a lot of the big teams. Obviously Chelsea nearly have a whole starting 11 out at the moment. I think they're one centre-back off having a starting 11 of injured players. Liverpool as well have been quite plagued with injuries, so yeah, just kind of trying to get as realistic gameplay as we can. But we did have a sim game to follow the victory at Vallecano. It was a home game back at the Metropolitano against Osasuna, who were struggling in the league, but not in this game. They started off by going 1-0 up. Jordan Ferry, the former Lyon midfielder, put them a goal up, and we did battle back to win it 2-1 in the end. But as I was sat simming the game, I was like, I'm not losing our unbeaten run to a simmed game against Osasuna. It's just not happening. But we did eventually turn it around. Following that, obviously still in the January transfer window, we did have a bid for our third choice keeper, Gomes, and I was quite happy to let him go. Obviously we've got Jan Oblak, who's the sort of on-field captain in the absence of Koke, who's still the club captain but doesn't play a huge amount, although he would start this game and take the armband. We've also got Livakovic, who came in for this game, obviously being our cup keeper, making his first appearance in the Copa del Rey this year. And I think we have another young goalkeeper called Iturbe or something, so I was quite happy to let Gomes go. There's no way on FIFA you need that many keepers, to be honest. You could get through a whole season with just the one. But obviously, it's first game in the Copa del Rey here. Massively important. I kind of alluded to it a bit in the previous episode. Like we can afford to lose a few games in the league now, or go on a little run where we're not winning every single game. With the Copa del Rey, we don't have that luxury. We need to make sure that we're getting through every round. I really want to try and win the Copa del Rey and the league this year. We're looking like we're in a great position to secure the league title. But it would mean, obviously, we've got 15 seasons in this save over 5 domestic leagues. So it kind of means, on average, you've got 3 seasons per sort of country. And if we can wrap up the Spanish League and the Cup in the first year, then it does mean that we can move on, and we can bank those 2 years that we possibly could have had extra in Spain, and we don't have to worry about coming back for anything. So fingers crossed. Obviously a long way to go, but in this game it wasn't actually Espanyol who started off the brighter. Had the first 2 chances. The first one was fired high and wide by Sliti, and the second was a fantastic save by Livakovic to deny them going ahead. But we'd made a few changes in this game. The game against Osasuna came just a couple of days before this, so we did have to rotate, but we did start to create some chances. Rodrigo de Paul, who started in this game, just sort of squeezed a shot underneath his body, and the keeper did a good job to save it. But following that, we did make the breakthrough. Antoine Griezmann with the goal. This was a fantastic build-up between Mateus Cunha, rolls it into Griezmann, and the turn past the defender was absolutely fantastic. and as he drilled it in past the goalkeeper, gave us a really important lead. You can see what it meant to my manager on the sidelines. And it is Antoine Griezmann who scores the first goal of the game and puts us one up. And that is how we would go into the break here, away at the RCDE stadium, I believe it's called, in Spain. And it was quite a tight game. We were sort of in control of it, but obviously with only the 1 goal advantage, you always kind of leave yourself a little bit exposed at the back. And as they came forward here, couldn't get the ball off them, and this pass into Sliti was absolutely fantastic, out of the reach of Benjamin Pavard, who did actually get back at him, and I tried to kind of out-muscle him and put him off, and he just withstood me. You'll see it on the replay. Fantastic pass, and Pavard actually kind of pushes him forward towards the goal. Livakovic, well, let me know your thoughts. I thought he probably could have done better. If he just dived to his right, he wouldn't have got beaten at the near post, but he kind of hung a leg out and the ball goes past him. But following that, I made a few changes, brought on Joao Felix and Angel Correa, because I was like, this is not good enough. I think we actually made a quadruple change with Molina and Llorente coming on as well. And straight from kickoff, I was like, right, let's get at them. I don't want any upsets in this game. And as we tried to play forward, we actually gave the ball away, but it was the Espanyol man who loses the ball on the edge of his own penalty area, and it's pretty poor from him. He definitely won't want to see that again. Loses the ball to Angel Correa, as you can see there, rolls it round the corner to Carrasco, and he actually hit it with the wrong foot. I wanted him to bend this with his right foot into the far corner. Again, keeper probably won't want to see it again. Didn't really move at all and just sort of like put his arms out to the side, didn't really extend them, and that is how the game would end. Good victory for us. It was hard fought in the end. Obviously Espanyol kind of pushed us quite late, and that Carrasco goal kind of took the stuffing out of them. They didn't really create anything after that, but there's been a few players this year who have just come up with really important goals at important times, Correa and Carrasco being 2 of those players. But you can see we did deserve it. They were pretty good as well. From the 4 shots they took, they created an XG of just over 1, but with an XG of 2, you can see that we did probably just about deserve to pip them to it. But following that, just before the end of the episode, we did see that Gomis's transfer talks did break down. And you can also see the round of 16 draw, where a few games have already been played, but we've been drawn away at SD Eibar. And you'll also see just at the bottom there, the big one, FC Barcelona against Real Madrid. That is absolutely fantastic news that they'll be playing each other. One of them will be out the competition before the quarterfinals, which is fantastic, of course. But that will do it for today's episode, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope to catch you soon. Peace.